All right. Welcome, everybody, to Groundhog Day and Henry David Thoreau. This is the Chlorine Gardens University um, second workshop. So I am going to just jump right into sharing my screen and some slides. I don't know if did that work? Can you see my slides?
No.
No. Okay. I missed a step. See, this is what my daughter would be helping me with the screen there. Okay. Um,
Yep,
I
that's good.
really thank you. I love having all these glitches recorded, so that people can watch them later on YouTube. I will not edit anything out because I don't know how to do that. Uh, I like to set a good example for everybody all the time. There we go. Groundhog Day and Henry David Thoreau. February 2nd is Groundhog Day tomorrow. So my first talk was going to be about Groundhog Day and shadows. I was going to, work in all these paintings with different kinds of lighting and then talk about your shadow side and I had a whole thing going on. But then it occurred to me that I could talk about Henry David Thoreau, and that just seemed like a way better idea, and you'll find out why. So first I'm going to read a comic that I made many years ago about Groundhog Day and why it's significant for me in particular. Come on over. We're having pancakes for dinner. We always eat them on Groundhog Day. Why do you have pancakes? It's our family tradition. No, I asked if he saw his shadow. Gosh, I have no idea. I only care about the pancakes. How did this tradition start? The town I'm from makes a really big deal about it. There used to be a hand painted wooden sign with Jimmy the Groundhog, but it was stolen twice and never replaced again. Even after the movie Groundhog Day, which launched Punxsutawney Phil into fame, Sun Prairie calls itself the groundhog capital of the world. Sun Prairie, groundhog capital, Madison, capital. When we were little, the local bank had a drawing contest that my brother won many times. My brother Lee, I've got two brothers. His prize was always a $25 savings bond he could cash in at age 18. Groundhogs are hard to draw because they have no interesting features. After Jimmy looked for his shadow, the city held a big pancake breakfast. It was super early, before school started. We only went because we had to collect Lee's prizes. The mayor pretended Jimmy whispered his prediction to him. Last year, he was bitten. Um, you all should look up this video on YouTube. I was trying to screen capture like the moment of the bite, but it's so fast. You have to just see the whole video. So just type into YouTube, Sun Prairie, Jimmy the Groundhog, Mayor Bitten, something like that, and it's well worth your time. George O'Keeffe was born there too. Huh. So, because of that whole history of Groundhog Day, once I made the comic, actually, no, it was obviously before I made the comic because I mentioned pancakes. At some time when Finn was like 2 years old, we started going out for pancakes or making them for Groundhog's Day, because of that Sun Prairie tradition. And then it just like expanded. So last year, Finn put this stuff on the mantle. She made a little banner saying Groundhog. I made the card on the left, and she made the card on the right. And then she wrote little words, hey, where's my shadow for the one, and I say early spring. So she made a whole display. And this is one of the groundhog cards that I've made. I started making groundhog cards, not a ton of them, just maybe 10 of them to send to friends and stuff per year. I didn't get them done this year. I'm so sorry. Don't worry that you didn't get a Groundhog Day card, that you haven't been removed from my list. My enemies are worms, cool days, and most of all, woodchucks. That's a quote by Henry David Thoreau. He called groundhogs woodchucks. Many people do. It's the same animal. Um, he wrote that because they destroyed his garden. They would eat everything and dig up holes and stuff like that. And it's uh, he also ate one. People do cook groundhogs, and he described it as like really bad. um, but that's not the only link into Henry David Thoreau. It doesn't end there. Um, these are examples. So since Groundhog Day is so close to Valentine's Day, I really love the combination of holidays. And a lot of people like really hate that Christmas is sort of overlapping Halloween because people celebrate Halloween forever now and start Christmas really early. But I think like what better holidays could you combine? The only better holidays you can combine than Christmas and Halloween are Groundhog Day and Valentine's Day. And we started making cakes for Groundhog Day a few years ago because pancakes just like aren't enough. So we made this one a couple days ago, and we'll have just enough left to have some on the actual day. All right, so here's how Groundhog Day and Henry David Thoreau are linked. The expression march to the beat of your own drum or drummer comes from this longer quote from him. If a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music which he hears, however measured or far away. Um, so that comes from the book Walden. He had his own cabin on Walden Pond and lived outside of, the city. And created his own world. And, he was one of the transcendentalists, and they were very much into the idea of independence. And so I have taken this idea of like creating your own world, which Thoreau definitely did, marching to the beat of your own drum, and created a holiday or enlarged a holiday, made it more our own with our traditions. As that is the beat that my drummer is playing, I guess. um, but I've done this many, many times in my life without really having a clear intention to do so. It's been something that I just feel compelled to do. I don't know, and I is to create my own world. And the most recent manifestation of this is this non-accredited university for everybody, Chlorine Gardens. And it started as a blog that was just posting all of the crafty projects that Finn and I were making. Um, and then we also, I started an embroidery club with a friend and a knitting and crochet club. We sort of joined forces. That was more led by somebody else. But we have these like crafting dates, um, and then I also started teaching an online class to like a tiny group of people just for comics last year and did that. And so then I, made this real and pretend at the same time university. And Finn created this logo. She is my teaching assistant. She's a freshman in high school. She's 15. She designed this logo for me, and we've been printing them on threadless prints up t-shirts, merchandise. It's my friend Amy said to me, the best moment in your life is going to be when you're out somewhere and see a stranger wearing one of your shirts. I agree. I'm waiting eagerly. I waited a really, really long time, like 30 years before I met another person named Kyler. Like I knew it would happen in my lifetime. And it seemed like there were steps like closer and closer. And there actually not only are many other Kylers, there's another Kyler Roberts who spells her name exactly like I do. And she's a woman, which is unusual because if I find another Kyler spelled the same way, it's usually a guy. Um, anyway, so yeah, that day is coming. I will see a stranger wearing one of my shirts. Probably that they got like secondhand at a thrift store that somebody bought and regretted. All right. Looking at my notes. Okay. Um, so the Groundhog Day last year, Finn made that, beautiful mantelpiece display. I made pancakes, and hash browns, like frozen hash browns and pancakes from a mix. But even that, like, that's like a really ambitious dinner for me to make. I'm so tired at that time of day, and we don't have like sit down dinners, the three of us, that often. So, I was trying to make it special. And then during dinner, I was like worn out, and I said something that made Finn really upset. And, she like barely ate anything and was totally quiet and then just went upstairs. And I was so mad. I think, probably crying and talking to Scott about how, this always happens. I work so hard and then I mess it up. And then I said, I ruin every holiday. And Scott said, Groundhog Day isn't a holiday.
Oh.
But it is. um, okay, so back to Chlorine Gardens and the own little world that I'm living in here, with all of you as my witnesses. This is just it's a little quiz that I put on Instagram, which one is a mirror and which one is a window with the snowman. I do want to create more like written teaching materials. I have been giving out Masters of Fine Arts degrees that all look different to different people. And then I did publish my first coloring book by Chlorine Gardens University. Finn and I made the little zine coloring book like in 2015, I think, when she was a little kid. And we just handed it out at like a comic show at Cake. But this one is like print on demand. And it's for sale on Amazon, which I know is like, obviously I don't want to encourage people to spend money on Amazon, but it's just it's the most accessible way to get it done. The benefit of print on demand is also that you don't have like a warehouse full of books that you had to pay for and then you have to pay for storage for. And you don't have to make any commitment. You can just do the upload a PDF and print a book. But uh, whatever, it's out there for your coloring pleasure. So somebody left a review on Amazon for me. I don't even know who this is. Maybe it's somebody here. This is the best book review I've ever received in my life for any of my books. I'm so happy with this. All right. Whoops. I'm flipping it. Oh, I don't know if you can go back. Uh-oh. I think I have to get out of my slides because I just pressed too many. Okay. So another time in my life, this was 2007 when I really like took a sharp pivot and created my own world. I had been painting and making art for, the standard art world, whatever that is, galleries and so forth. Um, and I was so burnt out on that and painting and frustrated by it. I started sewing for myself a little bit more, and I felt it was so satisfying to be able to just make something for me, but then also just like make it public, like show people and talk about it. So made I decided to start this blog and make all my wardrobe, like make every article of clothing like over time, and then eventually like get rid of all my commercial clothes, like when I got, far enough into the project. And I did it for a few years and I never got to the point of, like replacing all my clothes, but I did have hundreds of things that I made and I could dress in my own clothes and do like whole loads of laundry of stuff I made, which was kind of fun. Anyway, I wrote this in the very first post. Here is the reason to sew. I feel really good when I'm around things I've made. Mainly this has been painting and home decorating, so I like to be at home. By sewing, I can create things that will be with me always. This might encourage me to get out more. I also like the process of sewing. It is nicely divided into boring, peaceful tasks, ironing and cutting, shopping for fabric and patterns, creating, sketching ideas and making designs, and problem solving. Why don't sleeves ever fit into armholes? Um, the thing that I wrote here I was kind of kidding, like maybe this will encourage me to get out more. But that's like an essential part of creating your own world. It's a place for you to escape and feel like you're being totally authentic, and this world that you're creating is really for you and it's rewarding for you. But if you do it just right, it does also make it easier to participate with the world. Like when I'm in a project that's really fulfilling for me, it makes me feel more social. And it makes every aspect of my life easier. So that's kind of a measure, like for me, if this, project that I'm engaged in is working or not. So I created a lot of like very weird things. And it was good because it made the blog interesting to read and funny, but it made me feel like I was like wearing a costume every time I actually wore something out of the house. And that was the point where it didn't make me feel like engaging with the world more. I just wanted to like put on a t-shirt from the Gap. Um, so this is telling a story of this one dress that I made early in the project, and it's a story about high school. And in high school, this was actually when I read Walden. It was assigned in English class, and when I really was inspired by Henry David Thoreau. So I'll just read this. When I was in high school, I decided to wear a uniform. Um, I went to a public school where most kids valued their freedom of expression through fashion. I thought it would be more freeing to remove the daily decision making about what to wear. One of my close friends decided to do it too, so we went to the mall and picked out matching dresses. We wore them every day to school until the end of the year. We drifted apart over the summer, so we went back in the fall in our regular clothes. Toward the end of that year, our senior year, we rekindled our bond and decided to wear uniforms again. We picked out new ones, better in many ways from the first model. They looked very similar to this dress. We made it through the first week and felt good. I didn't see her over the weekend, and when I got to school Monday, I saw that she wasn't wearing hers, but I was. I don't know why she didn't let me know what her plans were. We never talked much after that. I decided to keep wearing the uniform, but it never felt as good as an independent act. Um, Oh, such a sad story of friend betrayal in high school. I'm sure everybody can relate. Um, yeah, that was so mean of her to make that decision and not tell me. Um, and all day I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I'm glad I stuck with it, I mean, it really was about my own world then. And I don't know. It worked out okay. But yeah, I'm not friends with her, not even on Facebook. Um, so creating your own world too much can alienate you from the world of community. It's also fun to just follow trends. So I like grocery stores. I protested because of peer pressure, and to support my beliefs. And I'm crocheting, and knitting a lot. There are articles every single day about the boom trend of embroidery, all these fiber crafts in particular, but also like junk journaling and all kinds of things. Like people are really crafting, and they're doing it, they're forming communities around it, doing it on their own, partly like in a major way to reduce stress. Um, so the writing prompt is, what have you done or want to do to create your own world? And I'm going to stop the share uh, first. Oops. There we go. Gallery view. Oops. I don't even have enough coordination to like press the right area of my screen. I tried knitting something with double pointed needles yesterday and it was like such a total disaster. Um, okay, so the writing prompt, I at this point I'm gonna stop the recording before we start the writing prompt, and then you can turn off your cameras. I will set the timer, your cameras and mics, and then tell you when we're done free writing, and then we'll have the opportunity to discuss. So just one more time, the prompt is what have you done to create your own world? Or what would you like to do if you have ideas on creating your own world? And then we'll talk. Okay, stop recording. Goodbye, everybody, for the video.
Bye.
Oops.